Hey, and welcome, Max Living and Chiropractic First Faithful, to our 2023 Battle Ready Masterclass, mostly focused on the understanding of cancer and the prevention. Once you can understand what something is, it makes it a heck of a lot more viable to be able to treat it, be able to prevent it, be able to know what you're focused on or working toward. Um, but we're going to start with a couple of baselines today, and then I'm going to challenge you with a couple of questions here. But you think about going back all the way to President Richard Nixon and quote unquote the war on cancer. And if you really look at history, the war on cancer has very minimally been focused on what can you do to prevent it. Prevention has been increasing screening tests, colonoscopies, mammograms, prostate, and for many of those cases, certain screening tests can be highly valuable. They can catch it before you feel it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys saw the video that we posted a couple weeks ago about people are falling in the river, and then you're trying to pull them out and save them out of the river, and they're getting hurt and they're getting injured and they're getting sick. What if you stop people from falling in the river? And that's where the war on cancer has largely failed, and for a variety of reasons, including but not limited to funding, coercion, campaigns that make you feel good, but actually the money unfortunately goes to things that you wouldn't necessarily think. And we could spend a whole hour on that, so we're not going to talk about that. But the war on cancer started here, and it started ultimately with treating the symptoms, treating it once you have it. To quote our former vice president, now president, "I have the authority to do everything. Sometimes I find myself going to bed overwhelmed, but by how I can meet my responsibility, I need your help. I need honest evaluations on the kind of change that can be made." And so ultimately, where this quote's coming from, regardless of where you are politically, is it's required for you to join. And so I want to talk about things that we may or may not understand, and also how to look at. So what's cancer at its simplest form? Cancer is when your body fails to replicate a cell properly, catch it, and kill it. It's kind of like in manufacturing. If a widget or a toy or a gear is produced and it's not the right one, and it wouldn't fit in the rest of what it's going into, it has to be thrown away because it's been made poorly. So, our cells are chronically reproducing. Most of your body is replaced within a month or two. Only a few things like your bones are replaced over a year. But like, for instance, they state that it's estimated that every single cell in your heart is fully replaced every 3 months. So if you think about it, how can somebody continue to have damage in that part of their body? Well, the reality is that their body's repairing damaged cells and replacing similar damaged cells. So, but what your body does is it has a certain shelf life for a cell, and then it does something called apoptosis. I'm going to say that again, apoptosis. Apoptosis is programmed cell death. The cell plans to die. And so, in its simplest form, what cancer is when apoptosis does not occur, and the cancer cell becomes deformed, or becomes no longer looking like the skin cell, the lung cell, the whatever type of cell that it is, and then it continues to multiply. Now, there is a reality that this happens many times in your lifetime. There's one study that shows that likely a person has cancer 6 to 10 times in their life and never realizes it. There's another older study that shows that a female on average has stage 1 or stage 0 breast cancer 3 times in her life. And for the majority of women, they never treat it, they never see it, they never find it. And what does your body do? It kills it, and it kills it with no side effects. It kills it without all the, when you think about what if it's found, and sometimes thank goodness it's found, but chemo, radiation, surgery, these things the pills that people take that affect your hormones for the next 5 or 10 years. All those things do have side effects. And so while I'm thankful for some of these treatments, the reality is if you can allow your body to heal itself, catch these things, this is so much more valuable to you, your longevity, your quality of life. And so that's really what it is. So your body replenishes cells. It kills cells through apoptosis, programmed cell death, and cancer occurs when the body can no longer kill that cell. It's growing too rapidly, or that group of cells, and the programmed cell death does not occur. Now, question number 2 that I want you to think about: is a tumor good or bad? So if somebody does have cancer, is your body doing the right thing at the right time, given the circumstances that it's in? And so when I talk about that, when they say a tumor, what is a tumor? A tumor is encapsulating the cancer. It's trying to keep it from metastasizing. And I would bet everybody on this line has heard of metastasis. This is what they look for when doing a PET scan or certain other types of tests. And why do they do that? They're doing that to see, has it spread and is it growing in other areas? So you certainly don't want that. Metastasis is a bad part of cancer. It's a sign it's significantly progressed and there's much more serious ramifications. So your body actually does the right thing at the right time, given it. And I would bet many of you that are listening would not think of the tumor as your body doing the right thing, but it's the reality, considering that it's already past its initial defenses and the cancer cells have gotten to a point. Now, here's the crazy thing. Like, if somebody has a tumor, there's plenty of, let's say, justification for many people choose to, let's say, have surgery and have it removed. I mentioned earlier that those things have side effects. And so for many people, they're like, how can surgery have a side effect? Of course, you want the cancer out of there. And I would want cancer out of there as well. But what a lot of people don't realize is when they cut the tumor out, because you're coming into a enclosed space, your body is damaged. And so to heal, your body actually adds blood vessels to that area. So if a tumor is cut out and not 100% of the cancer is removed, in many cases, that actually increases the spread, or you've now stopped the body's natural ability to encapsulate by cutting it, and therefore it actually can allow the spreading of those cells. So again, this is why ultimately the theme of both seminars is going to be ways that you can protect yourself to either not have it, or if you do have it, to help your body heal or reverse it or prevent it or make it the strongest it possibly can. That's why they're calling it battle ready. Because the next thing to think about, or that I really want to talk about philosophically before we really get into what cancer is and how you make some of these changes, is why do people wait, or why do people take it more seriously once they're diagnosed? Think about that. Why do people take it more seriously once they're diagnosed? I would make the argument that it's human nature, that your increased value for the way you're going to act or the way you're going to live is going to go up when you know you have something that's going to kill you. Otherwise, we have all sorts of things. Well, I could die of a heart attack tomorrow. I could have a car accident tomorrow. Of course, I could get cancer, but I hope I don't. And diabetes, and you can go right down the line. Diagnosis for most people simply increases their value, and now they'll do whatever it takes. And when you talk about, like, for instance, cost versus value, when someone has the diagnosis, for many, they'll spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on cancer treatments medically. Many people that are on this line will also spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on natural treatments, vitamin C IVs, extra adjustments. They'll cut out the sugar and the desserts that they were once previously eating. They're willing to make these changes because they have it. But the reality is that whenever you make better choices, it helps your body prevent it. It helps your body do the same thing, just with not near as much knowledge or awareness. So that's something to think about as well, is if you know what something is, if you know it's going to affect you. And the thing is, when you talk about affecting you, it's just not avoidable. Every single person that's watching this is touched in some way, whether it's personally or within their immediate family. Because the current statistics are that 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer. Why? Why are so many people, diagnosed? Where did this come from? Why is it such a first world problem? Well, in some ways, we've created it because thankfully we've solved the number one thing that was killing people, which at a younger age, before you would die from cancer in most cases, which is infection. So sanitation alone is estimated to account for more than 90% of infectious disease relief. Not even like necessarily antibiotics or vaccinations or some of the things that maybe some of you agree with and some of you don't. But the reality is that clean living conditions, having your water not be spiked with infectious bacteria, having your toilet water go to a different place than your drinking water. Essentially, sanitation is the largest, most responsible thing for longevity of humans than any other thing in the last 100+ years. And so that's when life expectancies really started to rise, and why they still are, for instance, considerably lower in certain third world countries and the like. Now, you can make the argument that we've now gone overboard, and not only have we prevented the things that would kill us as humans more frequently younger, but also we actually create things that cause more cancers. So some things that are, I'm just going to go ahead and say, universally proven: pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. The current way that we farm, the amount of that stuff that's going into groundwater, the fact that we have genetic modification for crops. There's a reality that while corn might be Roundup resistant, your gut is not. And so when you get these chemicals ingested into your body, there's all sorts of research on how it throws off your gut. It creates leaky gut. It increases cancer rates. Additionally, the amount of medications consumed in our country. So unfortunately, many people are way too comfortable taking a pill versus doing the work to get off of preventable things like blood pressure meds, diabetes meds, heart meds, and even pain-based things that all wreak havoc on your gut. They're all chemicals. They overload your liver and your kidneys and your other detox organs. And as you may know, one of the side effects of all those pills is that long-term use increases rates of cancer. The doctor I have on the screen, Dr. Zach Bush, is a medical doctor who is incredibly articulate at going through that. So if you want more information or more understanding, he has a podcast that I just listened to recently that was absolutely brilliant. I put the link to his website in the subject lines or in the body of the cancer seminar or Battle Ready seminar. So if you really want to dive in, this guy is a great resource for that. And he has the link I listed is a simple 3 minutes about what actually cancer is and how you can affect it. And so that's a starting point. Now let's really dive in. And of course, by the way, there's plenty other cancer causes besides medications and what we've done to our food, but those are two really big ones. And so, like I said, we've kind of swung the pendulum the other way. We've had a war on cancer for 50 years, and cancer rates just do not seem to go down. And it's not for a lack of treatments; it's for an increase in causes. Would be an argument that I would make, and I think easily researched or shown to be the case. Now, let's talk about what do you need to do to accomplish what we're talking about. So healthy cells and cancer cells do not look alike. In fact, they have different fuel sources. They have different nerve supplies. They have different pH levels. And I want to cover pH first. So pH is a 1 to 14 scale, and neutral is 7. So like I always use the example of the pH of a pool, when somebody might add chlorine to water and or salt water, or, whatever people are using in the healthier realm these days. But pH in your body should be slightly over 7. For instance, to be healthy, the pH of your blood needs to be 7.4. It's ideal for the pH of your cells to be over 7. In a swimming pool, if the pH is not right around that 7 range, that's when the pool gets murky, it gets cloudy, it allows for negative growth. When the pool can start to turn green and algae can grow and all that kind of stuff, that stuff grows in a certain environment. Similarly, cancer grows inside your body in a similar environment. So here's some things to think about for keeping your cells healthy. So first of all, while all cells do use some sugar for fuel, the majority of your cells like to use oxygen for fuel. So this is why you have more energy. For instance, when you exercise, when you go for walks, when you run, when you work out, why do you have that increased energy, increased vibration? Well, your body has more fuel, so you have more energy. So even though you expanded more energy, you have more energy. So healthy cells use oxygen for fuel, and they use sugar a little bit. Now, compare that to cancer cells. What do cancer cells use? Cancer cells get to a toxic threshold where they no longer are utilizing oxygen for fuel, and their need for sugar as fuel goes up by 6 to 8 times. And this goes all the way back. We're at 90 plus years. Otto Warburg won multiple Nobel Prizes for his work with cancer in the 1930s. And it's actually where the modern PET scan was developed from. So when you have a PET scan, the way that you glow, you drink this fluid, and what is it? It's radioactive sugar. It's radioactive sugar. So what does that mean? It means that when you consume it, it's going to circle through your it's going to get into your system, and then they're going to run a PET scan, and you're going to glow where the cancer is. That's literally what a PET scan does. So what is it doing? Because cancer cells consume sugar 6 to 8 times more than other cells, that every cell is going to consume some of that radioactive sugar, but cancer cells are going to consume so much more that you literally are going to be able to glow when that happens. So that's what it does, and that's what it's for. So whenever somebody has a diagnosis of cancer, I don't want to say 100% because there's so many types, but it's something well into the 90th percentile that if you cut sugar completely, you will starve cancer cells. So this is where people go on the advanced plan of the Max Living Advanced Plan. They'll go on a very strict paleo diet. They'll go keto. They'll go carnivore. They'll go to something that has minimal carbohydrates and no simple sugars. And I'll tell you, we've seen it work incredibly well. One of our we have several clients right now that do have active cancer, and I'll tell you, the ones that have cut sugars, several of them are seeing their numbers radically go down. They're going down faster than their MDs predicted. And so again, you can help yourself whether you are diagnosed, and if you're not diagnosed, you really need to. The first action step is simply look at how many refined carbohydrates, how much sugar is in the coffee drink you get, whether you make it at home or you get it from Starbucks. How many meals do you eat bread? I mean, my hope is that it's not once a day, but once or twice a week. How many times do you have refined carbohydrates in your diet? What do you eat for breakfast? Are you eating cereal, waffles, like smoothies or bone broth? Both have radically less refined sugar. And so, starting to look at where can you implement this in your diet is a huge first step. And what is the minimum standard that you're going to allow yourself? How much stuff are you going to consume or allow yourself to consume? Next thing is, of course, nerve supply. So nerve supply is the communication center. So when we talked about programmed cell death, apoptosis, that happens more effectively when the brain can communicate with that cell in whatever organ, muscle, or tissue that it's in. And having a impinged or a low nerve supply, of course, decreases the likelihood of healthy communication. And then lastly, the slightly alkaline pH. So again, slightly over 7.3, 7.4. That is the rough alkalinity. And so again, things that pull your body into more of an acidic environment, refined carbohydrates, certain especially toxic meats, and then chemicals. Like a Coca-Cola. We've always used this. Coca-Cola semi-drivers have to carry a corrosive substance license because the acidity of a Coca-Cola is in the same range. It's down in the threes, between 3 and 4 of battery acid. You can imagine how much more cancer is being put into a body. Alcohol has a high acidity environment. And so, these are some things like if you drink pop, if you drink a lot of alcohol, if you consume things that are sugar and liquid sugar, like empty calories, Halloween candy, these are some of the things. So a slightly healthy pH, what helps keep your body into well, in general, the shortest answer is fruits and vegetables. Having enough fruits and vegetables, most people do not even get, while the food pyramid in this country is absolutely garbage, with having carbohydrates be the number one thing that they state that people should consume. Still, most people don't get the recommended 5 to 9 servings of the fruits or vegetables that's recommended. Yeah, and so it should, of course, be significantly even more than that, but most people are not even getting that. So comparatively, a cancer cell, like I've already stated, doesn't use oxygen for fuel, uses mostly sugar for fuel. Additionally, and we're going to go over this more in just a bit, has a high inflammatory environment. So things that cause inflammation, not just dietary things, but also chemicals and toxins. So not detoxing your body, or not efficiently detoxing your body with exercise, sweat in a sauna, working outside, things like that. Having healthy bowel movements, all those detox your body. But inflammatory environment, not a proper nerve supply. And then most cancer is a significantly acidic environment. In fact, while going from 7 to 5.5 might not sound like a lot, it's radical. So the majority of cancers get in, your cell will become cancerous around a pH of 5.5. This is how certain parts of your body can be completely healthy and other parts can be severely cancerous. But there are a percentage of cancers that are in the severe alkaline, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 range. So they can go to either extreme, basically, is what it comes down to. And because we're condensing the information today, we're not necessarily going to go so in depth. If you want more information, we do have old seminars on our YouTube channel. So Chiropractic First of Rockford on YouTube, and you can just type in the word cancer and you'll see we have some old 3-hour seminars that go much more in depth into this. So if you have a friend or family member who needs more detail than making changes, go catch one of those old videos, get on with the Dr. Zach Bush podcast, do some of that kind of stuff. So next step in addressing your being battle ready is strengthening your immune system. So your immune system, first of all, is controlled by your nerve system. And you guys probably have heard me say this or heard your doctor say this, but there are many studies that show that every time you get adjusted, your immune system gets stronger. And why would that be? Well, the simplest analogy, when people say, well, I don't want to get exposed or I don't want to get it, so I go in and avoid people, during flu season or just over the last several years in general. Well, that would be like saying, I really want big biceps or I want a strong body, but I'm not going to go to the gym and I'm not going to work physically outside. If you want a bigger bicep, you have to lift a weight. You have to lift a weight of some type. If you want a stronger immune system, the largest single way is exposure while you're healthy. So the more you can do to strengthen your immune system, getting enough sleep, um, eating healthy, exercising, detoxing, getting adjusted. I mean, these are all things that are going to help keep your genetics from expressing cancer. In fact, they've shown that anywhere from 95 to 98% of cancers are not purely genetic, but in fact have lifestyle preventable aspects to them. And so there's two ways to look at your immune system. One is that it's weak and it constantly needs to be supplemented. And that is I'm going to use the word medical thinking. It really ticks me off that they added a fifth shot for seniors this year. So the flu shot basically doesn't work. I say basically because we're on an online forum here. So yes, there's depending on what research you read, you can say, well, it does, 10 to 40% effectiveness or 40 to 60%, but its ability to life save is very low. The pneumonia shot, the flu shot kills 6,000 people a year, give or take. The pneumonia, so they say, well, it's really pneumonia. So now there's a pneumonia shot. Both those have high side effects, increase your risk of dementia, weaken your immune system to all other. And this is the problem. They weaken your immune system to all other factors because instead of going out and getting naturally healthy and boosting your immune system naturally, there's plenty of people that are sitting in a confined area, not moving, not eating well, not getting adjusted, not detoxing. And I can go on, the shingle shot and then the super shingle shot largely produced because the other two, and now this again, there's less black line data on this, but actually if you follow the historical pattern, shingles is already in your body. And so why is it expressed? It gets expressed when your immune system gets weakened, very similar to cancer. It gets expressed when your immune system gets weakened. And so the super shingle shot prevents, the last time I looked at the data, on average, 3 out of 100 people would express shingles. The super shingle shot knocks it down to 2 out of 100. So if 100 people get the shot, one less person gets shingles or will express shingles, but all those people will get the side effects of embedded heavy metals in their body, a weakened immune system to other things, so on and so forth. Of course, then we have the shot for the pandemic and all the boosters. And at this point, if you can't make your own differentiation on that, I don't know what to say because you have to boost immunity over time. And then lastly, there's now this RSV shot, which again we've already had multiple people in the clinic that have had side effects from, and it's like, at what point are we going to realize that it's not taking a bunch of things and then not investing in our body, not investing the majority? Unfortunately, if you really look at it, the data suggests that most people that are getting all those things are not doing many of the other things that support themselves, not doing the exercise, not doing the clean eating, not doing and there's a variety of reasons for that, whether they talk about it being financial or inconvenient or, whatever it is. But there's just a reality that strengthening your immune system allows your body to find those cancers when they're small and kill them. Another study estimates that every person has between 100 and 10,000 cancer cells in their body, but they're constantly being found and killed off by your immune system. When you develop cancer, it's on average an 8-year process where a certain part of that has gotten too big for your immune system to be able to continue to kill. And so 8 years later, it finally becomes detectable on our most sensitive screening tests. So think about that. That means that more than likely, when somebody gets diagnosed, they've had it for over a decade on average. It just wasn't detectable yet. So again, I hope with all that information, thinking about strengthening your immune system and what you're going to do into this season. Is your vitamin D level over 50? Are you taking, immune support, C's, elderberries? Are you, again, eating clean? Are you getting adjusted? Are you detoxing? What are you going to do to strengthen your immune system, strengthen your body? Because it is your body doing the right thing at the right time, given the situation that it has available. It's trying to stop it at every single moment. And so that's where we're going to pick up here on Tuesday with our inflammation and the depths of inflammation and how you can change or avoid inflammation. The mystery word here is cancer. So mystery word, very simple. Mystery words, cancer. Hope you have a very blessed day.